What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Life of a Local Trucker, and I am back again. Thought I would kind of give you guys like a little bit of time or whatever. It's kind of slow, and I am here at DY getting filled for the yard dog. Give you guys kind of like a rundown of what we got going on here. Yep. As you can see, as a local driver, we basically got fuel pumps that are kind of close. You have a card that's issued to you, and then you swipe in the card, and then we have pumps that you could use to put in the gas. Just got done filling up with diesel. You see we got a couple pumps, Big Def fuel station, big box Def. Yeah. Spin this out. Probably just get back in the cut for a minute. I got a ways to go and it's kind of slow today, so we're just going to take advantage of it as much as possible. Kind of just post up. Yeah, so hopefully y'all can see me pretty good. But yeah, this is an area that I just kind of come and post up sometimes when it's slow. And this is like our main hub, kind of like in the North Texas region, Like this is like where a driver would come if you're a local driver and you're looking to get a repair done to your truck. See if I can show y'all. As you see, there's just trailers that need to be repaired, rigs, the fuel station, that's where we just left. And if you look over to the right, you see like our mechanics station. So yeah, that's what we got going on right now, It's kind of chilling, it's cooled down. So I figured I'd show y'all a pic or two of the place and kind of give y'all kind of like a rundown of what I had going on now. Kind of give you more of that backstory that I was talking about, So, where do we leave off? Oh, so I think the last episode I was talking about how I went to go work for the pipeline construction company and couldn't really get no motion with it. I had the job for a little bit, but just like most jobs or whatever, it kind of comes a time where there's like a regime change, and the support that brought you in and the people that kind of had your back and wanted to see you succeed, they all left. They all got phased out, and it was just an awkward situation. Like the guy that hired me, he ended up getting fired, and things just kind of went downhill from there. I ended up losing that job. And after that, I went to go work a series of odd jobs and just things that really didn't pan out. I can't remember specifically what I did after that. I think I went to go work for a carpenter, and that didn't work out. It was a fly-by-night carpenter, and I was working all the way off of 8th Street in Colorado Springs. For all my Colorado Springs people, 8th Street, kind of like old Colorado City-ish area. So I went to work there for a little bit, and then I had a moving company. I went to go work for All My Sons, and I did that for a while. And that's cool, but it's only so long that you could work at moving companies and stuff like that before your body breaks down. Even if you're young, that's just not something that you're going to do forever and forevermore. So, I went to go work at the moving company. That didn't work out. And I remember around that time, I had a friend, and his name was Mitch. Shout out to Mitch. Hope you're doing good out there in Colorado Springs. I haven't forgot about you. But I was hooked up with my homeboy Mitch, and he told me, he said, man, I went to the workforce center and they're going to help me to be an electrician. So I said, oh yeah? And he's like, yeah, they're paying for school and everything, paying for me to be an electrician. They're going to pay for my class. They're going to put me in an apprenticeship, and I'm going to get right. So at the time, me and Mitch was kind of like in that same boat. We didn't really know what we wanted to do with life, but we just wanted to be successful. It didn't matter how it came. We just wanted to be successful, and we wanted to be legal and off the streets. So we just, we were like exploring options, and we used to like run ideals off of each other's heads, like, oh yeah, well, maybe we could hustle cars, or maybe we could do this, or this and that. So right off the bat, I'll be honest with you, he went to the workforce center, and I didn't go to the workforce center right away. I think I continued to work little odds and ends jobs, and then one day I thought about it, and I said, wait a minute. The homie Mitch went up to the workforce center, and he made something happen for him, and he's changed his life. Maybe it'll behoove me to go up to the workforce center and at least see what they got going on too, And it came off a conversation. I was talking to my mama, and I was like, Mama, I'm tired of working these $10, $11, $12 an hour jobs. It just seemed like I can't get past working $12 an hour. And she told me, she said, but the reason you ain't making that much money is because you don't have a skill. You got to get a skill that's going to pay you that much money and pay you more money. So what you need to do is go to the Secretary of State, out where she live at. They call it the Secretary of State, but Colorado, they call it the Workforce Center. So she was like, you need to go to that Workforce Center and you see if you could get something popping. A lot of times they pay for degrees, and they pay for, like certificate programs and trades. So maybe you could go up there and you could get something popping. So I'm like, you know what? It ain't gonna hurt me to go up here and see what they got popping. The homie Mitch went up here about 6 months, a year ago, and he said that he doing good. He went to go be an apprentice electrician, and he got his life popping off. So I'm slipping. I need to be up here. I should have been up here like yesterday. So I'm like, I'm about to go up here and see if I can make it do what it do, So I went up there, and they're passing out brochures like, yeah, we have like several programs that, we offer. And shout out to the Workforce Center in Colorado Springs. If you in that Colorado Springs area and you want to get something popping off and you don't necessarily know what you want to do with your life or whatever, I'm going to tell you right now, go to the Workforce Center, get you a couple brochures, think about it, and then go talk to a counselor, So I went to the Workforce Center, and there was CDL truck driving. So at the time, I just had like a little measly Class A permit. So I was like, well, I've been trying to get this thing popping so I can drive trucks on my own. I don't necessarily want to go work for a super carrier or nothing like that, because I don't want to go over the road. And, I'm stuck in Colorado Springs. I don't have nothing going. I'm making $12 an hour, and I really can't get past that rut of making $12 an hour, And then on top of that, too, we all know that management has favorites. And one of their favorites, they can play with your hours, Oh, all we got is 15 hours a week for you. Oh, you got a second job anyway. So since you got to be to your second job, we got 10 hours this week for you. Take it or leave it. They don't really look at it like you struggling and you trying to put 2 and 2 together to make 4 so that you could take care of yourself. They just look at it like, hey, well, your loyalty ain't to this company. So why should we, give you all the hours? We're going to give the hours to the people that, this is their only job. And I kind of get that logic to a certain extent. But, at the end of the day, people got to survive. People got to do what they got to do, right? Everybody's just trying to eat and be successful out here in this world. So from there, I seen CDL trucking. And I said, wow, well, this is what I've been trying to do the whole time, and I ain't got to pay nothing for it. So I started talking to the lady. I wish I could remember her name so I could give her a shout out. She will probably remember me too, you know. Like when I talk to people, they say that I'm very memorable, you know, just the way that I carry myself and, you know, polite and friendly. I'm very memorable. So she probably will remember me. But she just gave me like a rundown of the program. Like, well, first of all, you would do an aptitude test and we would see like where you're at and stuff like that. And then from there, what we would do is we would place you in a program that suits your needs. Like, yeah, truck driving is definitely open, but we also have other positions that you could fill and other skill trades that you might be interested in too. You could do electrician. I think at the time they had like HVAC or something like that. It was just a couple other programs that they had, but I was just, you know, at that time I had my mindset on trucking. You know, I had already been in that environment working for the pipeline construction company. And I had already been, you know, exposed to guys that had CDLs, and I had determined in my head, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is the type of work that I'm used to. This is kind of like my norm, even without, you know, a straight up and down Class A commercial license. I've still been driving with guys that had Class A licenses, and, you know, they've been showing me the ropes, and this is something 100% that I want to do and that I want to pursue. So CDL is the direction that I want to take. So the woman was like, okay, great. So we'll have you come back in. We'll have you take an aptitude test. And based off of how you do on the aptitude test, we could determine whether or not we could put you in this commercial program. So, you know, this was like music to my ears because, like I said, for the longest time, you just didn't make the type of money that, you know, I had the, you know, potential to make being a truck driver, especially like 2012 Colorado Springs. It just wasn't really popping like that, you know. Colorado Springs now, I would say, is probably like a mid-sized city. You know, they got a lot more going for it than it did in 2012. But the end of 2012, 2013, they legalized weed, and I think that's when it really took off, and it just blew up. Like the population just, it changed. But post 2012, it was small town, you know. I was talking to some of the guys that I work with, and they're like, yeah, man, you know, around here, man, you know, yeah, you know, the pickings is kind of slim. So I'm like, how y'all meet women? Oh, the pickings is kind of slim, man. You know, I met my wife in high school, and we just, you know, I knocked her up, and we just been together ever since. So I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, it's gonna be different out here. So I had moved to Colorado Springs with a cousin of mine, and, you know, I just wanted kind of like a change of scenery, kind of like to do something different. And I moved out there, and I was just trying to figure my way around. So it took me a while to, you know, kind of figure everything out. But yeah, you know, back to what I was saying before, little odds and ends jobs. It's a bar out there, and I'm pretty sure this bar is still up. And it's on Tejon. Anybody that's ever lived in Colorado Springs, you know Tejon, downtown Colorado Springs, Tejon Street. You know, past the courthouse, the bar was past the old Southside Johnny's, going towards, let's just say, Nevada. Like you were going towards UCCS. So the bar was a Packers bar. And I was like a bouncer, a doorman for the Packers bar out there. And it was on Tejon. I forget the name of that bar. But I worked there for a cool minute, couple odds and ends jobs. But, you know, from there, I took the aptitude test. And the results were good. I remember the woman was like, yeah, you scored about average in math, by average in reading. But your mechanical abilities is out the roof, you know, so we could definitely put you into CDL trucking because we see that you have an aptitude for it, you know, like your mechanical abilities is good. So I think you know, it's kind of funny, but I was at home and I was just looking at old documents, and I think I actually have that document that shows, you know, like the test that they give you and where I scored and stuff like that. And I just want to share it for you guys because, you know, all of this stuff is like a journey, you know, and it's my story. And I just think it'll be, you know, kind of inspiring and motivational to somebody that's looking to change their life and just kind of, you know, do something else. Because I've been there. I've been the guy making $8 an hour, $9 an hour, and just can't get over the hump. And, you know, you just need like some words of encouragement, you know, some words of exhortation, you know, something that's kind of going to put you over the top or whatever. So, yeah, I definitely think that I'm going to share that on the next video. But, yeah, it was all good. You know, your boy tested, did good on the test, got approved for truck driving school. And from there was a series of stipulations and things and requirements that I had to do in order to maintain my status as a truck driving student. So with that being said, you know, maybe on the next episode, I'll show you guys like the paperwork and all that to kind of motivate you guys a little bit. Anybody in that Colorado Springs area for sure. But just kind of give you, you know, words of encouragement to all my youth out there that's looking to change their life, you know, kind of give you examples of encouragement, and show you guys what you can do if you put your mind to it. So, you know, I had that paperwork, and then, yeah, I'll tell you guys like kind of like the journey, but just stay tuned. You know, it gets more interesting, you know, but I just thought I'd get back on here and rap to you guys. It's kind of slow right now. It's kind of cooled off a little bit. And I'm not really doing nothing except just post it up, you know. I guess the weekend, and sometimes at the facility or whatever, it's kind of like a dead hour where you're just not really doing nothing except just post it up, sitting up in the truck. So, you know, I figure like, hey, what better way than to, you know, get some videos and get some good content, right, for you guys. So, you know, with that being said, I think I'm going to enjoy the rest of the evening. You know, stay tuned. You know, I got more story time for you for sure. And we're going to get to it. And I'm going to teach you guys everything about local trucking that it is so that you can make an informed decision if you decide that you want to be a truck driver and you can get the full story. Because there's so many over-the-road truck drivers that have their story and stuff like that. So I just think it's important to, you know, give the whole story and let people know what their options are, you know, and let people know that there's a life besides being out on the road. Maybe you want to be a local truck driver in your city, and there's pros and cons to it. There's trade-offs to everything. So we'll go over that. But with that being said, I think I'm going to end the live here, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, give your boy a comment. Let me know that you're rocking with me. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.